So we've talked about the umbrella of dementia. Now the question is, what's under the umbrella? And it turns out there's four major categories of dementia that we could consider, but there are a bunch of other ones as well. Well over 120 forms, causes, and types of this thing we call dementia, the thing that's changing your brain. So the first category of dementia is Alzheimer's, a familiar one to many people, but maybe not exactly what you think. The second form or category of dementia is Lewy body. And for many people, that's totally not something they've ever heard of before. Lewy body, what are you talking about? Dr. Alzheimer, Dr. Lewy. And then we have the third form of dementia, vascular. Now, it's a different type of dementia. It's not actually a brain disease. It's a blood supply and nourishment of the brain problem. And what's causing the brain to shrivel and die has to do with not getting enough oxygen, nourishment. It's not doing well. And we'll talk more about that. Finally, the last category that's a grouping of dementias is called frontal temporal lobe dementias. So these are dementias that affect the very front of your brain or the temporal lobes. And we'll discuss that. Now, that's not to say there aren't these other forms and types. Some are genetic, some are brought on by environmental exposure. Some might be due to head injuries, chronic traumatic encephalopathies, things like Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease. But those are all different types of dementia, and they are unique. These four categories, however, are major groupings. So within Alzheimer's, we have different causes and types of Alzheimer's, different forms of it. But all forms of Alzheimer's will cause early changes in the hippocampal area, memory. So I don't hold on to details, recent information, the way I used to. But old memories tend to be fairly well preserved at first. I can't find the name of the thing. I might be having trouble with language, but it's not comprehending language as much as it is as finding specific nouns, perhaps. Then it might be that I get turned around when I'm out and about. I get lost, or maybe I'm not keeping up with time, or maybe it's that I missed visual information that was right there. I never even saw that, or I thought I saw something, but it wasn't exactly what I thought it was, and so I misunderstood a piece of environment. So when I have Alzheimer's, you might hear people talking about beta amyloid plaque formations. You might hear about tau pathologies because those are associated with that condition. I might have trouble being logical and reasonable, but in general, I am sort of the way I've been, and yet there are these episodes. When we hear about Lewy body dementia, we historically would have thought, oh, that's very rare. But it turns out over 30% of people living with a dementia have some Lewy body involvement. Now, Lewy body is synuclein protein malformations, which is also associated with Parkinson's. And so we used to think Parkinson's and Lewy body were different, but it actually turns out they're both involved in synuclein protein issues. When you have Lewy body, you often will have symptoms of visual hallucination, seeing things that are not actually there, animals, children, people. Delusional thinking, you have misthinking. You might have balance and coordination problems. You have falls that nobody understands why you're having all the falls. And then suddenly you're not having any falls, and then you have more falls. Sleep disturbances, episodes of insomnia, restless leg syndrome. You could have problems using your fingers or your hands. You may have trouble swallowing, and then you're fine. People describe Lewy body as living on a roller coaster and riding on a merry-go-round. And that's both the person who's living with it, but also the person who's trying to provide support. Now, when you're living with a vascular dementia, what's happening is you have some changes in your brain that are being caused by lack of circulation. That lack of circulation could be episodic or it could be permanent, like you've had a stroke. But on top of that, we're seeing more problems develop. So you've had a attack, you've had diabetes, you have congestive heart failure, you have COPD, but we're now starting to notice your brain sometimes is really not working well. But it tends to come and go. And some people will describe emotional reactivity or flatness when somebody is living with vascular dementia. They'll have times when everything seems fine, and then there are times when things are not fine. And I might be high emotionally out of nowhere. I have way too much emotion. I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm angry. And there doesn't seem to be an explanation. If you ask me why, what are you crying about? I don't know. So if you're having those kind of conversations, you might be looking at a vascular dementia. And what we can see with vascular dementia is people can plateau for a while, and then there's another sudden drop in abilities and some bounce back, but they're never exactly like they were before. Now, the fourth category, frontal temporal dementias, that one is more of a younger person's dementia. Being younger than 65 is the most common type of dementia you can run across. Although we can run across Alzheimer's or Lewy body or frontal temporal or vascular, FTD is the one that's going to have tau pathologies. And what's happening is the front of your brain might be having issues. So we have executive control problems, problems with logic and reason, problems with decision making, problems with being able to think things through and then act on those things, being super impulsive or unable to decide, sequencing, knowing how to get started and do something and then finish it and then move on. And again, keeping in mind, these are the very first symptoms you might see. I might not have a lot of problems with memory. Although I might get lost and I get turned around in time, I'm not having the traditional memory loss problems. The other areas in the front of the brain that might not be working well is that I can't see anybody else's point of view but my own. I am not able to see my own inabilities. I think I'm still fine to do things. I might be super involved in what I'm doing and not be able to pay attention to the bigger world, or I might not be able to get involved. So you may see symptoms of things like OCD or attention deficit. Now, if the temporal lobes are involved, it has to do with language. So I might not be able to get language in or put a language out. I may have a atypical or atypical kind of language loss. I might be fluent or non-fluent. I hope many of you out there are going, that's a lot, because it is. But what you don't know can hurt you and hurt the people you care about, because you've got to get a little better at appreciating this is somebody's dementia. And I think we're just in where we are with the dementia versus, ooh, I think something else is going on here. This isn't typical for her dementia. Now, the reality is, as dementia continues on, it is certainly possible for a person to develop a second or even a third dementia. And actually, by the end of the dementia, it's more uncommon that people only have one that's active versus more than one. Whoever said anything about that? Well, I'm telling you, because I truly believe an informed and supportive advocate makes a big difference. Deep breath. What do I want you to let go of? The idea that you need to know it all. What do I want you to appreciate? The more you know, the better you can support and help yourself and the person you're trying to help.